Now we begin with two pieces of very bad news that we only learned of this morning. The first, and the most serious of all, is the death of another young rider while training. It was Santiago Ruiz, a Colombian who was about to turn 18 years old. Ruiz had been part of the Esteban Chavez Foundation, which helps young Colombians take their first pedal strokes on a bicycle. And after 10 years gaining valuable experience, young Santiago was able to be part of the club Ciclo Bonello, the same one where the legendary Fabio Duarte became a cyclist, a man of notoriously high testosterone who was part of teams full of dopers, such as Sonier Duval when it was called Geox, an era when they won the Vuelta a España with the doper Cobo, or the 2018 Manzana Postobon, which was full of dirty cheaters. But young Santiago Ruiz had started to stand out this season with a stage win in the Vuelta a Anapoima, and he finished second in the Micro Vuelta al Valle, and he was preparing for the most important race, the Vuelta al Porvenir, one of the big competitions for the young Colombian talents. While he was training on the time trial bike in the vicinity of Mondoñedo, a vehicle overtook him and then stopped suddenly in front of him. When the youngster dodged the vehicle and went into the other lane of traffic, a truck, oncoming, ran over him, killing the promising youngster. Another accident in Colombia, another death that should never have happened. Rest in peace, Santiago Ruiz. We will never forget you. Now, the second piece of bad news has a somewhat hilarious air, one of those that we like to comment on so often, and one which Selfie Lappartient, the president of the UCI, who seems happy to allow dirty dopers to become world champions in their disciplines, loves just as much as we do. Now, this recent example happened at the Gravel World Championships. Yes, those where there's less gravel than in Paris Tour, which was held on the same day. But we're not talking about our beloved grandson and son of dopers, winner of the rainbow jersey in the elite category, but rather a Frenchman. Because in cycling, you might think it's always a Dane, but wherever Selfie's concerned, it's always a Frenchman. In this case, we're talking about Loïc Herbreteau, man convicted in a previous doping case, who is now world champion at 48 years of age in the 45 to 49 age category. And he did it not just against any old riders, but against the legendary Domestique with a career in dope-ridden teams like Quickstep or Rabobank, Brom Tankink. Now, as an amateur cyclist, Loïc Herbreteau was not very successful with just a stage victory in the Tour de Nord-Isère in 2003. Although he became French amateur champion in 2007 at the tender age of 31, it was against riders under 23, and he did so while doping with heptaminol, a dirty cardiac stimulant. For this, he was banned for 6 months, but he continued to be linked to doping. In fact, in 2018, he was arrested and sentenced to 3 months in jail and ordered to pay €2,000 for doping-related offences. Specifically, Loïc Herbreteau was being treated by the mythical Dr. Bernard Sainz, Dr. Mabuse, whose doping clients ranged from Mathieu van der Poel's grandfather to the legendary Frank Vandenbroek. Herbreteau was also involved in connecting cyclists seeking doping substances with Bernard Sainz. He was a key part of this doping client network. Well, neither the French anti-doping agency, nor WADA, nor of course the UCI of his compatriot Selfie Lappartient ventured to condemn this Loïc Herbreteau, and he became a gravel and Gran Fondo cyclist, winning the European Gravel Championships in 2023 and then 2 medals, silver and bronze, in the Gran Fondo World Championships. And now he's a full world champion, all of course allowed and even applauded by Selfie Lappartient. Make sure you follow us on our personal Twitter, @UncleCycling. That way you'll keep up with all the latest cycling news. And make sure, of course, that you subscribe to this channel for more content. And now, let's analyse the latest race in which the Slovenian alien Poggi will continue wearing his rainbow jersey, the Tre Valli Varesine. Despite rumours that the race might be cancelled due to inclement weather, it would have been a complete pity and shame not to celebrate this competition with more than 100 years of history, and that in recent editions has been based on laps of the same circuit with the short, hard climbs of the Salita del Ronchi and Montello. It's a competition where the Saunier Duval team has had an awful lot of success in recent years. There was triumph in 2013 of the doper Christian Durasek in his first victory outside his native Croatia. And then in 2022, it was time for Urska Zigard's boyfriend when he won in the final sprint against some very fast men like the late Sergio Higuita and the then Mercian mummy Piti Valverde. Now, in addition to the world champion, also participating in this race is Focusing Evenepoel, who said he was very tired, something we saw a few days ago in the Giro dell'Emilia. And all this despite competing for 10 days fewer than in the 2022 and 2023 seasons. Although to be fair, in those seasons he didn't have to face a monstrous alien for 3 weeks, who was beating doping records on the hardest passes of the Pyrenees and Alps. With the double Olympic champion preparing for Il Lombardia in the best way that he can, there was tiny Tim Pidcock in a good moment of his career looking to dock with the Quebecer team, and the anti-Pogacar Lipovitz after his show in Emilia. The Benesto team had their duo of Enric Mas and Tramadolito Quintana. Rabobank's Gregario of Gregarios, Matteo Jorgensen, was ready for action and trying to follow the alien Zone 2 training. Or, of course, the very dangerous Alberto Bettiol, together with his friend Michele Gazzoli, the popular Italian doper who abandoned the Tour de France on the first stage. However, everyone was certain that either Poggi or one of his slightly suspicious teammates, like Marc Hirschi or Diego Ulissi, would be going for the 81st win of the season for the Saunier Duval team. The day did not get off to the best of starts, with the women's race shortened to only 50 kilometres because of the bad weather. But then, at the scheduled time, the men's race of the Tre Valli Varesine began. Just before the start, coincidentally, 3 very suspicious casualties were dropped from the final list of riders. 2 of them, the thuggish Antonio Tiberi and the always resistant Damiano Caruso, suffered from a stomach upset, or food poisoning perhaps, according to the Bahrain Victorious team of the dirty doper Robert Stannard. The other dropout, that was the Canadian athlete Michael Woods, all of them with a common bond in the past. Still, today, few would miss them. But then the race went on to surprise us, with a distant attack from, wait for it, Enric Mas! Yes, the attacker who never attacks. He decided to dynamite the race with 150 kilometres to go, and along with him went some other dangerous men, such as Romain Bardet, Tobias Foss, or the nephew of the doper Jan Ulrich, Herr Steinhauser. Everything looked set to deliver a great day of cycle racing, but with 110 kilometres to go, the race was cancelled due to worsening weather conditions. As it was a circuit, there was little that could be done. The alien himself said that he couldn't see shit with visibility of less than 5 centimetres, and for all the efforts of the organiser, he was very sorry. Well, Poggi, don't worry. You're still Poggi. Now, if your name was Muriel Führer and you were only 18 years old, it wouldn't have mattered if it rained or snowed or thundered. You'd still have to race. Professional cycling is still a pyramid, and Poggi, like the doped gravel world champion, has proven that it's grand when you're on top. In future, it's going to be difficult not to turn off the TV when certain characters appear. But before you touch any dials, take a look at the video on the screen. You'll love it!